out of the box or out of the wall, whatever we want to call it. We got one. My dog got scared. Anyway, Inside Out 2 in 3D. That's how you do it, right? 3D. All right. So, of course, Inside Out 2 comes out this weekend. A lot of reviewers already reviewed it. I'm late to the game. I probably won't see it Friday night because of work. Anyway, I've seen this once. I thought it was pretty good, but it's kind of a cult following where it's at right now. Watching it again, does it deserve the love it gets? Let's put on those 3D glasses and find out. Chase Liaki here with the Blue Futon reviewing Inside Out 2 in 3D. What's about? Pretty similar premise. You have small Riley, and she has the 5 emotions: joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust. Disgust for the broccoli, anger for anger, fear for fear. Okay, I'm just explaining it. I'm stupid. Anyway, 3D, let's go. I was pleasantly unsurprised, yeah, about the 3D. The 3D was fine. Like, there was no real pop out effects. This is a way depth perception movie where it's like a lot of stuff in the background. You have Joy's head in the foreground, or Sadness's head in the foreground. So that's what you're going to get with the 3D. You're not going to get craziness because this movie really isn't a crazy movie to show off 3D. There isn't no flying effects. Yeah, there's interesting, like, the Riley's islands disappear, but none of the collapsing islands actually occur, like, in front of you. They're all, far away, so there wouldn't be a lot of 3D effects. The 3D effects that did come to play with sometimes of the orbs are bong, not bong, but the imaginary elephant / dolphin, cotton candy, imaginary friend, when they were down in the crevice and trying to get out. That was some good 3D effects. But other than that, don't expect any drastic pop out effects or drastic over the top 3D effects. It's good, clean, depth effects, and that's about it. So that's got me wondering what the 3D is going to be like when I watch the second one in 3D 4DX. So the movie itself, you have some people absolutely loving this movie, absolutely saying it's like one of the best Pixar movies of all time. People do say that. I think it's good. There's some good emotional beats to it. And there are some elements to it where it does think about life, of like where you're going, what your emotions should control. What are you without your emotions? Are you just a stale meat bag? Or with these emotions, you need it to fulfill life. And even though sadness might be a quote-unquote sad, or bad's the wrong word, emotion, it is needed in life to understand things that will occur. Because if everyone is just joyful or happy, you're not going to really understand life. You're not going to understand what people go through. You're going to have that naivety of not knowing what other people go through. So it does somewhat talk about that, especially with the whole moving away from Wisconsin or Minnesota to California, which I do think is an anti-California movie, just because, Minnesota was fresh and green and outdoor and playing. California, right when you go to California, it was gray. It was brown. It was disgusting. And if they don't make California even more disgusting now of what San Francisco is, propaganda. But anyway, when it comes to a movie like this, it's hard not to say like, oh, the animation is crappy. That's false. The Pixar movie, they all look great. The story, it does have the heartstrings, check. It has the great voice acting, check. But I do think this one, you could call it superficial when it comes to some of the emotional beats, or just what it makes you want to cry. Did I cry in this one? Yeah, but not like, it was more like, oh, that's a tear rolling down, just because of some elements that do occur about memories and how you lose memories. And my biggest fear in life is death and dementia, and the Alzheimer's and just forgetting your past life. And that kind of creeps me out because it does make me think, okay, what's the last memory I thought of? And this movie goes into oh, what should you get rid of? And that does make you think about life in general. What do I get rid of? Yeah, I just got done doing a warrant test. Half that stuff I remembered, gone. Why? Because I could just read something on the internet to get that information. But at that point, I had to memorize it. Let's take that vacuum cleaner. Gone. But like the most important things in life when I lived in Nebraska or Iowa. I do think about the things of like skateboarding down the hill, and I hope I never lose memories like that, because that's just terrifying to me. And I think why I think it's also kind of superficial with some of the reasoning. Yes, it is sad to leave home, but also at a point that's not like horrible. I know that sounds like mean, like how dare you say that? Well, military kids move every 3 to 4 years, or you know, kids lose parents, or kid loses their brother or sister to an accident or cancer. Like that is the emotional aspect. Like that is really deep and could like push the story forward. But the overall ending was basically her wanting to run away to see her friends, just because of mixed emotions in the brain. So it did feel a little bit superficial when watching it. Yeah, there are some sad moments to it. And I know they didn't want to make it too extreme because Pixar, but then I say that, and then Up, like the first 10 minutes, is the most extreme emotional roller coaster ride you'll ever watch. So it's hard for me to say that, Inside Out, wanted to hold back, but then you watch other Pixar movies and you're like, oh, they didn't hold back. I know Pixar movies nowadays, when you look at it, the last two, Luca and Turning Red. Let's go with the three. Turning Red, Luca, and Lightyear. The emotional beats just weren't there compared to like this. This is like A+ when it comes to emotional beats, so I'm curious where Inside Out 2 goes. But overall, 3D Inside Out, not the greatest, not the worst, but it's actually pretty tame. The movie itself, it breezes at an hour and a half. It does have a good message for kids. I do think there's an overall good arc to it. But however, I do think the tugging on the heartstrings was a little forced, and the movie itself with the actual dilemmas, I understand, but at a point, I think you're stronger than that. So Inside Out will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 80%. So let's see the critics and user scores gave that one, this one, that one, this one, whatever. So you have critics a 98% with 384 of them. Audience score 89% with over 100,000. Critic consensus: innovative, gorgeously animated, and powerfully moving, Inside Out is another outstanding addition to the Pixar library of modern animated classics. Classic? I'm sorry, I can't consider this a animated classic. I still think like animated classics, a lot of old Disney films, of course, Toy Story, How to Train Your Dragon had way more emotional depth than this. Classic, I can't call it a classic, but 89, 98, 80. Chase Luck here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thing, Booftopia. You Booftoners, think watch a great day. About to stay tomorrow, week from now, month, or a year from now. Every single freaking one of you. Am I right, wrong? Let me know. Or is my emotions just too dead inside?